place in 2011, an effort by government to open meaningful dialogue with the private sector in Belize. Since then, the initiative has taken flight, and today there was massive participation from private sector stakeholders, as well as industry giants and financial experts. Traditionally, the sessions have been speech-centered, but this year it's being done differently to allow for more interaction, input, and constructive discussion.
This year we're doing panel discussions, and we've brought in people from key areas in government, key areas in the private sector, key areas in the productive sector, to sit and have discussions on specific topics, to discuss issues like competitiveness, like education, skill needs. I could go through a long list, but I believe there's about 4 panels, after which there's question and answer session with the private sector. The Prime Minister is on hand to address any issue that they might have. And I also think for him it will be a learning experience as well, because it really is intended to be a two-way thing, not a one-way speech giving activity.
Today's session covered 4 main topics: business climate and service delivery, banking and finance, investments and trade, and infrastructure and technology. It was structured to allow for expert presentations on each topic, followed by a discussion segment. The forums are annual events, but there is an Economic Development Council which maintains constant discussion. The council is comprised of 5 high-level government representatives and 5 private sector stakeholders.
We tend to, for the most part, draw a line between public and private sectors. I think we've come really far in terms of the Economic Development Council to really create and increase the level of trust. So I think over the past 2.5 years since the Economic Development Council has been put in place, that we've seen quite a good amount of confidence building in one another, and so I think the collaboration is improving. I know that with some of the activities we've had private sector participating tremendously in all trade agreements. Mr. Mena was even appointed as a trade ambassador. The input of private sector in the trade negotiations has never been, I think, this prominent. No.
Prime Minister Dean Barrow spoke of the absolute necessity of a systematic, open, and institutionalized private-public sector dialogue. And not only dialogue, but action, since the private sector must play a very active role in the economic development of the country.
It is well, though, to reiterate that this is a two-way street and that it is an accepted fact that government cannot do everything. Indeed, our declared operational division of responsibilities speaks of the public sector providing the enabling environment, while directly productive activity, and thus the bulk of the incomes, jobs, and profits, flows from private sector investment and private sector trading and commerce. The actual apportionment of this labor is, of course, not hard and fast. There will be times when one side or the other may need to take on some of the tasks of the opposite number in order to achieve specific objectives. The fact is then that there is every reason for private and public sectors to maintain this structural relationship on the issues we face and on how to overcome them.
The session was short but intensive, covering a wide array of topics. It closed at around 1 p.m. today. Mike Rodon for News 5.